Parks, this is your review for 2. Good day, my name is Joe Gerba. Today I'll be going over Parks and how it plays with 2 players. Now Parks is a 1 to 5 player game where you'll be having your hikers traverse the lands, trying to visit as many parks as you can, trying to get your personal bonus accomplished, and taking pictures along the way to get the most victory points. And by the end of the fourth season, the 4th go around, whoever has the most points wins the game. Now see a little bit more how to play. Now Parks is a pretty neat, tight little game. You'll be getting a personal or 2 personal bonus cards at the beginning of the game, and you'll be able to choose one that you kind of work towards to the end of the game. It doesn't give you a whole lot of points, but at least something to start off with. You'll have these 2 hikers. That's essentially the part of the game where you'll be moving one at a time, taking turns, potentially leapfrogging each other. You can move your 2 hikers at different speeds. When you land on some of these, you'll be able to gain resources, trade in resources, take pictures, take parks, and visit some of these parks. And the reason you want to do that is collecting these parks, visiting these actual parks will get you victory points at the end of the game. But these parks are going to have some requirements based on the resources. You may have to have so many forest resources, sunshine, mountain, and so forth. Along the way also you'll be having these canteens you'll be able to pick up as little extra resource production or resource alteration. You can get these gear you can buy at the end of the game, or at the end of each round, or halfway through each season. You'll be able to pick up these gear cards which help you get more parks, and you'll just be moving on this track. The cool thing about this game is you can't move onto another space with another person unless you spend your campfire. You get that once per round until somebody reaches the end, where you'll refresh your campfire and be able to keep moving along this track. This track's pretty neat. They're going to, like I said, have different resources and different things you'll be able to do. Each round, you start with 6 spaces you'll get to go to, and not in sequential order, but you don't want to leapfrog too far. But each season, 1 extra tile will be added, and they're going to be random each season. Each season's also going to have a special ability for the season, as well as the initial putting on resources. So the first one to visit each tile, each place on this modular board will get a free resource. Along the way, you're also going to be wanting to take pictures if you can. Each one of these pictures is worth 1 point at the end of the game. If you have the camera, you'll be able to take pictures at a cost of 1 resource when you can to take a picture. Else, you can try to take the camera using 2 resources. So this camera's it gets passed back and forth, as well as the first place marker can get passed back and forth. Once a hiker reaches the end, they'll be able to either take a park, buy a piece of gear, or visit a park. And the only way to score is to visit these parks and to pay the resources at the bottom. So after 4 rounds of this, the game's over, and you count your parks, you count the pictures you've taken, and your little personal bonus goal, and whoever has the most points wins the game. So let's see a little bit more what I thought about the game. This game is pretty neat. The components in this game are kind of fun. The resources feel good to hold, feel good to trade in. You'll be using those quite a bit. You have a maximum of 12 resources at any time, but you'll be spending a lot of those to visit these parks, to go along the trail, to be taking pictures. And it's just kind of the components in this game are fun. I really like the feel of these cards. Man, these nice big tarot cards of these parks are really fun to look at. This game is don't say it too often, this game's very beautiful on the table. I like it a lot. I like these tiles. Just everything about this game. The art style is pretty cool. Now, the rules itself, we decided to play this kind of on a whim yesterday, and I was able to read the rules in about 5 minutes, kind of refresh myself. The references are great. The rules are easy to get. To get to the table, I would say this is very easy to get to the table. Let's talk about the table size a little bit. The table size can probably get in a 3x3, especially if you're sitting across from each other. We're sitting kind of side by side, so it took us a little bit more room. But the gameplay itself is pretty interesting. It's kind of an odd mechanic, but a really simple mechanic where one person's going to move, do the action on that space. It may be switch. Gathering resources, getting a canteen, which may help you in future rounds, gathering some of these parks, but you never quite know the order that things are going to come out at the beginning of the round. But once it's all laid out and the resources are all put on there, you start to move, and you have 2 hikers, and you get to move these kind of one at a time. Now you could have one guy always, progress while the other one sits kind of at the trailhead, and the other person can be moving. There's a little bit of balance that once one person's all their hikers are at the final space, all the other hikers have to be done. Now, it's a nice little balance because you can't go on a space that someone already has occupied unless you spend your once per round campfire. Now this can be flipped over once you get one hiker to the end. You can flip it over, and so you can kind of extend the turns that way. But it's kind of a game of chicken sometimes on what spaces you really want to land on, and what spaces are really needed for this round. If you have a lot of resources and you really want to get that park, this space that lets you visit a park is really crucial. If the other person's on it and you don't have your campfire, you need to figure out other ways to try to get some points, get some, progress in the game. So it's a lot of a game of chicken. It's kind of nice. But it's very intuitive. You want to gather resources. There's not a whole lot of player blocking in the 2-player version of this game. So the gameplay feels pretty tight. The canteens kind of add a little bit. Anytime you get water, you can place a token on the canteen, which lets you kind of do a subsequent action. If you have more canteens, you have more options. The gear, neat to pick up at the beginning of the game because it may help you throughout the game, but closer to the end, it may not be as crucial to get. Always got to keep your end of year bonus kind of in your back pocket. It doesn't give you a whole lot of points at the end of the game. My wife actually beat me 45 to 44, and these things only gave us 3 points apiece. So in the scheme of things, pretty small, but just having the resources, the camera, taking pictures is vitally important throughout the game. So there's a lot of different ways to score. And like I said, this game is just really neat to get to the table. Let's talk a little bit about the luck versus strategy. There's not a whole lot of luck in this game. The most luck you may have is, once somebody picks a park, what park's going to come up next. When you go to the canteen and get one, what canteen are you going to get? The luck's pretty minimal in this game. The tiles may come out in a different order, but if you're first player, you always have the first choice to decide which place you want to go. And the depth of this game is probably medium to medium low. There's not a whole bunch, but it's easy to get to the table. It's quick. It's portable, as you can tell. The play time took us maybe 45 minutes, but in a 2-player game, we're always doing something. We always had something to think about. Sometimes it would be go to this tile, get a resource. That'd be your turn. Next person, tile, resource. And so it's really big back and forth. And it's just kind of a neat mechanic, neat game, just kind of unique feel and theme with all the parks and things like that. And it's overall, it's a really nice portable game. You can take this anywhere you want. We really enjoy it with 2 players. It goes quick. We have not played this with over 2, and I don't know if I would. This is a game that can be pretty intimate, pretty taken to get out, but not a high stress game. I didn't feel bad for losing yesterday. Of course, I always want to try to win, but it's one of those games where you pick out to play, and it just gives you some time away, from the screen to spend with the other person. The intensity of this game is very low, and it's just kind of a nice, relaxing game to play. This could be, a nice little filler game, or just a game you want to pick up off the shelf, play for an hour, and put up. Just something to get away. And this does just a very good job of putting a nice, tight game in a box. It seems relaxing. It's fun to move around, collect, visit these parks. Like I said, the artwork's beautiful. Easy to get to the table. Components are great. Overall, I think this game is a great game for two. Now, who it's not going to be for is the one who wants a really high intensity, game. Somebody who really wants a thinky game. This is probably, like I said, a low to mid-weight board game. If you're trying to get somebody into board games and you want kind of a starter game, this is a great game. This is one of those gateway games that could be into the broadscape that is board gaming. But it's just a nice, simple game to get to the table. Smooth gameplay. Enough thinking to keep both players occupied. It's a quick game, little downtime. There's not a lot to diss on about this game other than if you're looking for a heavy game, you may want to look elsewhere. So that's kind of my thoughts about the game. I know it went by pretty quick, but for a two-player game, this game plays great. Great time with whoever you're playing with. And overall, I like this game for two. So hope you enjoyed the review, and until next time.